Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Rosie, and thanks for joining me on Elevating Glow. For many people, healing begins with a desire to escape. Escape pain. Escape chaos. Escape unhealthy relationships. Escape the version of life that feels heavy and exhausting. But eventually, healing asks a different question. What are you building in its place? Because the goal was never just to get away from what hurt you. The goal is to create a life that feels safe, meaningful, and worth staying present for. Welcome back to Roots and Wings. This is the Roots and Wings finale. Today's episode is called Building a Life You No Longer Need to Escape From. And it's about moving beyond survival mode into intentional living. When you've spent years surviving, it's easy to focus all your energy on getting through the day. You learn how to endure, how to cope, how to make it through difficult moments. Those skills matter. They may have helped you survive seasons that felt absolutely impossible. But survival is not the same as living. Living requires something more. It requires vision, choice, and intention. It requires asking yourself not only, what do I want to leave behind, but also, what do I want to create? That question can feel surprisingly difficult. Many people become so focused on escaping pain that they lose touch with what actually brings them joy, purpose, or peace. I remember a time when my goals were mostly about relief. I wanted less stress, less conflict, and definitely less emotional exhaustion. And while those were valid desires, I eventually realized I needed something positive to move forward, not just something painful to move away from. So I started asking different questions. What kind of relationships make me feel safe and valued? What routines support my well-being? What work feels meaningful? What environments help me feel grounded? What values do I want my life to reflect? Those questions shifted my focus from escape to creation. And that's where healing becomes transformative. You begin building a life intentionally. A life with boundaries that protect your peace. Relationships that honor your humanity. Habits that support your mental and emotional health. Goals that align with your values instead of other people's expectations. This doesn't mean life becomes perfect. Challenges definitely still happen. Stress still happens. Pain still happens. But there's a difference between a life that constantly feels like something you need to run from and a life that feels like a place you can return to. One is built around survival. The other is built around stability. And building that kind of life often happens through small, consistent choices. choosing rest when you're exhausted, choosing honesty over performance, choosing relationships that feel reciprocal, choosing to care for your body, mind, and your emotional well-being, choosing progress over perfection. These choices may seem ordinary, but over time, they create extraordinary change. They create a life that feels more grounded, more authentic, more peaceful. A life where you don't have to constantly disconnect, numb yourself, or fantasize about escaping because your daily reality feels more aligned with who you truly are. And perhaps the most beautiful part of healing is realizing that you are allowed to build a life that fits you. Not a life designed to impress everyone else. Not a life built entirely around obligation. A life rooted in your values, your needs, and your vision for the future. That is not selfish. That is intentional living. When I was setting this goal for myself, I started small. My goal is to live the happiest, healthiest life, no matter what that looks like to anyone else. As we close this season of Roots and Wings, I want to leave you with this thought. Healing is not just about recovering from the past. It's about creating a future that feels worth inhabiting. You deserve a life that includes peace, connection, purpose, and room to breathe. And it's okay if you build that life one small choice at a time. Thanks for listening to Roots and Wings. And remember, roots give us stability. Wings give us possibility. May you continue to grow both. Until next time, elevate and glow.